Hello. So I wanted to come on here and talk about something that is very personal to me, and I'm very nervous to talk about it. I have tried this video before and my nerves got the better of me and I backed out. But I really want to try and do this, so I don't know how this video is gonna go, and I hope it makes some sort of sense to someone. It is to do with disability within witchcraft, and I don't really hear that much about it being said on YouTube. I guess the reason why I'm getting so nervous is because I don't want people to see me any different because I have something going on with me. I also don't want people to think that this is a sympathy vote and I'm trying to do this for more subscribers. That's not the reason. I've heard a few people saying that those with any type of disability cannot be a true witch, they cannot be a true pagan, they cannot practice witchcraft, they cannot do magic. And that's annoyed the hell out of me, and it's making me want to push forward and talk about my own practice, my own workings with my disability. But like I said, I am very nervous about people seeing me in a different light. I know some people acknowledge those who have disabilities and practice witchcraft, but they tend to not push them aside, but keep them on the low because they don't understand what their condition is. They don't understand how you can do the workings that you do. They don't understand, so they don't want to offend anyone, and that's okay. I can understand that, but it's the people that's saying you cannot do this and trying to push us out and not acknowledge us at all, that they are the ones that I'm annoyed at. And for those that don't know, I have hypermobility syndrome, fibromyalgia, polyarthritis, social phobia and panic attacks, and also swan neck deformity. Swan neck deformity is something like this. Other people have it worse than me. Whenever I show my fingers, and it's on both sides, whenever I show my fingers on camera, people tend to say that it's disgusting, it's sick, I shouldn't show my fingers on camera, and it's not something that I can really stop from happening. I'm not doing this forcefully. This is actually how my fingers are. They have been like that since I was a toddler, and I've noticed that, well, over the past few years, I have actually taken notice that my fingers are starting to decrease and they're getting much lower and lower. So it is becoming a small problem for me at the moment. And with the conditions that I have, everyday tasks can be difficult. I'm not able to walk as much or stand as much. My ankles give up, so I fall over a lot. I'm not able to lift things or hold things. I'm starting to lose my grip, so I'm not able to write or draw as much. I'm not able to go outside, so I can't go in nature. I can't go to spiritual events or meet with spiritual people. Just everyday things can be difficult. And I also want to say that I am probably one of the lucky people in that the conditions that I have are not as severe as other people. I know there are people out there who are suffering so much more than me, and I'm not trying to say that mine is the worst out of everyone. everybody is different. But this is just how I'm doing it. I'm not trying to say everybody with disability works like this. We are all different. But yeah, I am finding it very difficult to hold things. I have noticed that my grip is going a lot quicker than I thought it would. It scares me a lot, but there is nothing really I can do except for go to hospital and doctor appointments, try new medications and things like that. With my fingers, I don't really want to go into surgery and get them fixed, because I've heard that once they are fixed, they are stuck in a position and you are not able to move them as much as you used to. They're just going to be stuck like that or something, and I don't want that. Like I said, I'm lucky that my fingers are still mobile. I'm able to move them, and I'm hoping they'll stay like that for a while. But with all this going on, it's taken me a very long time to learn about the conditions, learn exactly what they are like, and learn about myself with them. What can I do? What can't I do? And what I can't do, can I work around it? Is there a way that I can go to make it easier? And that is something that I suggest everyone should try and do if you are disabled and are starting out and finding things very difficult, is to learn about yourself, learn about your own abilities, learn your own strengths, learn your weaknesses, and just find shortcuts. There's nothing wrong with doing shortcuts. If it makes your life easier and less painful, then go for it. There is an example, and it's to do with incense making. I hear people talking about, when it comes to incense making, that those who do shortcuts by using a coffee grinder are not really experiencing the full experience of incense making, because they're not using a mortar and pestle, because they're not grinding for hours, because they're not putting their own energy into it and their effort and the strength and everything into that incense making when you're grinding. It's not true experience. Well, for me, that's wrong. And I know those who are saying it probably are not thinking of anybody with a disability. So I'm not really offended by that, but I am slightly annoyed by it. Because for me personally, I put all that energy and effort into my incense making when using a coffee grinder. I still use a mortar and pestle, but I have to make sure that when I do use it, I'm not in pain, that my pain is not going to come back within a few minutes. Because even if I take my painkillers, the pain can still be there. The pain doesn't go away. And those who have this will know that the pain will never ever go away. No matter how many painkillers you take, it will be there. So I have to make sure that I am in a good mood, that my pain isn't going to be there. I'm not going to make incense if I'm in pain, because all that energy that goes into the incense is going to be negative. So when I burn that incense, all that I'm going to have is negativity. Why would I do that? Why don't I go the easier route of making incense with a coffee grinder, putting more positive energy into it, because I'm not hurting myself as much, because I'm not holding something and lifting something that is heavy, that is going to hurt my wrists. I'm putting everything, my intent, everything into that incense while using that coffee grinder. Just because it's a machinery doesn't make it any less. it's my coffee grinder. I have made made it only for incense making or for my workings. I have cleaned it, I have blessed it, I have put symbols onto it, I have done a ritual for it, I have put the statement that it's only for magical workings. You know, you name it, you do it any way you can. Make sure that machine is for your workings only. Same goes for a bread maker, but a little bit different because you can't really have a bread maker for your workings only. I think the author was Erin Murphy Hiscock. I apologise if I've butchered your name. The author of The Way of the Green Witch and The Way of the Hedge Witch, The Solitary Path of Wicca. In one of her books, she does mention about machinery and doing that same thing, blessing it, cleaning it, putting symbols onto it, making sure that machine knows that it's for the workings only. And I need a drink. Excuse me. So that machine knows it's for the workings only. And you still put in your energy. And when I read that, I felt so good. I felt so happy to find an author that was actually saying that what I was doing was okay. And I know that might sound silly, but when you hear people say, no, don't do that, you shouldn't do this, it's not right if you do it that way, these little things can really get you down. And for me, at one point, I felt useless. I felt like I cannot be a true witch because of this. And I was starting to give up. But when I read her little bit about that, I started to feel so good. I ended up feeling so happy, so positive, and I'm still practicing my way. There's nothing wrong in having a machine in your working, only if you know that it should be used for that type of work only. And again, I don't know if I'm making sense, but I'm trying the best I can. So I do try to use a mortar and pestle, but for me it is very difficult to do so. And before I put the lid on the coffee grinder, I make sure that I'm channeling my energy straight into there already. And when I'm holding down that coffee grinder, I'm still putting my energy into it. I'm visualizing myself grinding, not seeing the blades grinding. I'm imagining myself grinding the herbs and the resin and the woods and all that. I'm not thinking about what I'm having for tea or anything like that. I make sure that when I'm working on incense through the coffee grinder, that I'm putting my full attention to that particular incense. Another thing is to do with ritual work. I do find ritual work can be a little bit difficult, again with the pains and making sure that I'm in a good mood, making sure that everything about my conditions isn't going to bugger me up for the rest of the day or for the rest of the ritual. This can be a little bit more challenging than making the incense. My partner, he comes and he is a very big part of my practice. I'm so lucky to have him, to have someone that just looks past my disability and actually sees me. He cares about what's going on, but he cares more about what is going on in my head and my personality and my interests and everything like that. he doesn't feel like he's going to be stuck with someone who is not able to move as well. When I do find it tricky to do a ritual, I will get him involved. He is a medium, he is a Reiki practitioner, he knows how to heal, he knows how to change himself into a vessel so the energy can channel through him to that particular object or person, and when he's doing his mediumship, he channels that spirit through him so that spirit can talk. So he knows how to do these sort of workings. So when it comes to my practice, he again changes himself into that vessel so that I can channel myself, my energy through him into the ritual. Some people will say that isn't me doing witchcraft, and that's okay for you to agree with that, but for me, that is me doing witchcraft. I am putting myself into a different body, basically. And sometimes the ritual can be a little bit more effective than just me on my own, because he puts his own energy into it. He's putting his own symbols, he's putting his love and his effort into it as well. Excuse me. So the ritual can be a bit more powerful than it was on my own, which is also a great thing. So yeah, I am very lucky to have him who is able to do that for me. Before I even get him to channel for me, I ask him, I talk with him before. I make sure that he knows fully of what that ritual is, or that spell work is, or what that particular working is for. If he doesn't agree with it, I don't involve him. I'm not going to be forcing him into something that he doesn't want to do. If he's okay with it, then we go ahead, we figure out how to do things. But I make sure beforehand that I have his permission. I'm not going to abuse him because I want to do something. I will end up waiting for a day that is right for me. When it comes to making candles and all the other sort of things that I do, like incense making, oil making and things like that, especially things that are heavier, he will have a hand in. He will be there to lift things up for me. I'm trying to think what else it's like for me. I don't really know how else it can be different, just that I might have some extra hands or an extra body to help me with my workings. Other than that, it's not really different. I mean, doing writing things down can be very difficult, and the small pens I can hardly hold anymore. It's very uncomfortable, and it can make my hands and fingers go into a cramp, and that can be quite painful. And I prefer to use the bigger pens, the thicker ones. I thought we had a pen nearby, but I can't show you, but it's just one of those stupid funny ones, you know, the ones that are like that big and that thick. He brought something home like that for a laugh. I started writing with it and I thought that is actually really comfortable, so I use that to work with for my journals and all that. I feel like I'm starting to mumble and ramble. Sorry. I'm just trying to think of any other areas that I feel are different because of the conditions that I have. But I don't think there is anything else. It's just, I have to work in a different way. I have to do shortcuts, and shortcuts are not that bad. It's all about knowing yourself and knowing your conditions, knowing what you are able to do. I did write some notes down, so I was gonna say that, does being disabled make me any less of a witch? To me personally, it doesn't. Just because I have something wrong with me doesn't make my energy any different. I've seen people doing brilliant work. I have read about people in the past who have had disabilities who do brilliant work. This is my path. This is my energy. This is my workings. So I can make it as personal as I want. My own personal path. So I'm able to do things, put my personal path as that, making it personal for me. You make it personal for yourself. Just because you think I shouldn't use a coffee grinder doesn't mean that I'm going to stop using a coffee grinder because you say so. I'm going to carry on because it's my personal path. And I'm hoping that makes sense. It can get very stressful and it can get very low. I can start to feel very depressed because of it. I feel frustrated at times, a lot of the times, and that can be something that puts me off doing any of my workings. So I do have to make sure that my mood is in the right frame, my emotions is balanced enough. I feel like there was something else I was going to try and say. But yeah, this is pretty much all I can think of at the moment, and I'm hoping it made some sort of sense, and I hope people can understand what I'm trying to say. It can be difficult, but for everybody else it's difficult as well. It wouldn't be challenging, we wouldn't be learning the lessons that we need to learn if it wasn't challenging and difficult. But yeah, I think I'm going to stop now because I really can't think of anything else that I can say. If you have any questions that you want to ask me, then please feel free to leave them and I will try my best to answer them. Yeah. Bye.